This video, I will talk about how I went back to school and got an actual career when I got sober, and where I'm at now, and why that can sometimes happen, and how you can do that too if you want. The last few months of when I was drinking, I felt the intense need to do something with my life because it was turning to shit all around me. And so I felt one of the places that I should go first would be to go back to school or try to figure out what to do with my life in that respect. That was easier to think about. I thought that was what I needed to do to really get myself out of the depression and out of my shitty life, was to do that. Didn't think about stopping drinking, but so that's initially what I thought I should do. So I went to go see a career counselor. I booked an appointment with her. I had a lot of debt, and I was like, how do I go back to school when I owe the government money for my student loans? How am I supposed to do that? I don't make any money. At the time, I was a supervisor in the retail world, a store. So really that's all I could. I was living paycheck to paycheck, had no skills really beyond that. So I had to see a career counselor. I was like, what am I supposed to do? So basically, from that, I learned that there was a program here that helped women get into trades and technologies, and it was honestly I don't even remember how long it was. I'm looking at my diploma right over there from that course. So I think it was about a 3-month course that helped women, with life skills and personal development things, and it was like a career exploration program to help women get into careers that are more geared towards men. So and that was hard to get into, that program. A lot of women wanted to get into it, but I applied. I applied when I was still drinking too. Still in the throes of it, but again, I said I felt like I needed to do something, so like, this is it, like, they can help me maybe. So I applied for that, had an interview. I had to show them, that I really needed this, and I did, and they accepted me. So I had found out that I was accepted into that. It would have been in the winter time. I got sober March 2nd, so it's and then I started going to that career exploration program when I was 1 month sober. And I remember that because in this career exploration program, it was 5 days a week, like 8 to 4, something like that. So it was like you're going to school for 2 or 3 months straight. And it was about 20 women in my group. So we all got to know each other really well. And I remember that I was 1 month sober because one of the first days when, we went around the circle to introduce ourselves and to say something, and I remember saying, I'm 1 month sober today, and everyone thought it was really cool. And I remember thinking at the time how lame that sounded, because like, lots of people stop for a month, and I didn't know at the time where I was gonna go with that. But anyway, I remember that, and I remember thinking, like, okay, doing big changes here, maybe going back to school. I'm sober, okay, I can do it. So I remember thinking I needed to change in that way. So through that career exploration program, I realized that my personality and the skills I had already sort of learned through other jobs was gearing me in the direction of industrial engineering. So I ended up applying for a program here at college for a 2-year program to be an industrial engineering technologist. I got accepted, and I began school to get that diploma. So my initial goal was to get honors, do really, really, really good, because I had been out of school at this point for 12 years. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. The career exploration program too gave a free math refresher course. So I took that to feel more comfortable with going back into math and stuff like that. So my industrial engineering technology program, there was a lot of statistics, calculus, crazy math, and engineering economics. Lots to do with you know, how factories work, material science, and process improvement, collecting data, analyzing data, how to interpret different types of data and how to apply it in different situations, and engineering stuff in general. So I was like, I'm gonna friggin' do it. I was, you know, a few months sober. I was like, I'm going back to school, I'm doing it. I got funding. That was another huge process, but the career counseling place that I went to, they were extremely helpful with getting me back on my feet in that way, and getting, you know, as much funding as I could, and so I did it that way. I did still pay for my schooling. I just saved a lot and worked really hard that way. So into my program, first year or even first semester was really hard because we were taking statistical analysis, and like I said, I was out of school for so long, and having to make my brain think in really complex ways again was difficult. But I stayed at the library at school almost every night until the last bus. I was living alone at the time too, and working on the weekends, and taking a difficult program. But I got good marks. I got high marks because I tried so hard, and found out I had a learning disability. Like so it was it's so visual. Basically, anytime any kind of audio enters my ears, it's incredibly hard for me to grasp it. I need to also be seeing it. So if I'm just sitting there listening to a lecture, it's like I can't concentrate on just the words. So I need to have a PowerPoint. I need to read along. I need to write notes and do it that way. Just a different learning style, which is fine, and I did it. Just makes it harder. Whereas other people, 18, 19-year-olds that were in my class, could just sit back and be super lazy and just listen and get it. It all absorbs in there perfect in their perfectly formed brains. But here I was, a recovering alcoholic, over a decade out of school with a learning disability, in class having to try my hardest to understand complex calculus and complex data analysis techniques, and learning all these things. But like I said, I just had to try really, really hard. So going back to school and doing all that was, it was an excellent distraction for me, and it gave me confidence. It is sort of risky to go back to school when you're so newly sober, because you know, it's so stressful, and the chances of relapsing are a little bit higher because, you know, once you build yourself up so high, it's easy to crash back down if anything goes wrong, if you fail a test, if you know, if the stress becomes too much from working and going to school and working on your recovery, all those things at once. Because before I went to school, I was terrified. And I would say to my boyfriend, how am I supposed to do this? I didn't realize, I didn't know that I was able to do this. It's like, how can I go to school, go to work, be sober? And I quit smoking. I quit smoking when I was I quit smoking in September 21st, I think. And school had just started. So I was like, you know what? And I was 6 months sober, I think, at that point. So I was like, let's just do it all at once. That was risky because, like I said, doing too many things all at once when you're newly sober is a lot to handle. So you have to have a good support system. You have to have that determination inside you that you're going to push through it and you're going to do it, and no going backwards anymore. And I had it, and I did it. Second year got a little bit harder, and I still did it. I pushed through. Still late nights studying, still going to work on the weekends. And my boyfriend and I didn't live together. I was still living alone. I lived alone all through college, except for the last little bit. Actually, we then moved into this apartment that I'm in now. So moving in the middle of all that too. I ended up graduating with honors, and I won an award for dedication, perseverance, something like that. And I got recognition also from that career exploration program with the women that I went to in order to get into it. So and I made a shit ton of friends. That's a lie. No, I went to school with a lot of people. I made a couple good friends and one very super good friend. You know who you are, even though I'm sure you don't watch these videos because you don't have an alcohol problem. Lucky you, whatever. So I did it. And pretty much as soon as I graduated, I applied for just a contract, 3-month contract with a security company. I did good work there. It was great. I got a job right after graduating. That ended. I got another job that I'm at right now, and it's fantastic. I can see an actual career happening out of this, and I am an industrial engineering technologist, which is difficult to explain. Google it if you don't know. I sort of explained it when I talked about the courses I took. Either way, it's a career. And like I said, a lot of people, when they're newly sober, sometimes you can start to think like, okay, actually I want more for myself. I want to achieve goals. I want to have a better life. Because the job we were doing when we were drinking, there's a good chance maybe we just had that job because it paid the bills. Maybe we just had that job because it gave us enough money to drink all the time and to pay our bills. We didn't really care about the job because we didn't care about ourselves. You just had a job, didn't matter. And then when you get sober, you're like, wait, I don't want to go back to that stupid, stinky job anymore. That can happen, and it does happen. So in those circumstances, there's a chance you're going to want to maybe speak with a career counselor, maybe change careers. Just know that you probably shouldn't do that, right as soon as you get sober. But start a plan. You figure out what your ultimate goal was. I'll use me as an example. My cat is playing with a plastic bag. Stop it! What are you doing? Okay, well, you continue. I'll take me for example. So my ultimate goal was to be an industrial engineering technologist, working in healthcare or with oil and gas. Who knows? It doesn't matter. I wanted a career as that. So I looked at where I was. Where was I? I'm a supervisor, retail. I make enough money to pay 80% of my bills and some food. Shitty food. How do I get from that to that? So then you speak with a career counselor, or you fucking do all your research and shit. And then you think, okay, well, there's this program, and it's in my city. Okay, what are their prerequisites? Okay, you need your grade 12 math. Okay, do you have that? Do you not? Do you need to go to night school or something maybe to like upgrade your skills so that you have the prerequisite to get into college? Okay, so maybe you do it that way. There's fees to get into college. Save enough money for that. P.S. because you're going to save a shit ton of money when you quit drinking. So you're saving money, you're banking money towards your future. So think of it in little steps like that. Have an ultimate goal and break it down into like 100 steps that you got to do. And remember that goals, SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T. Let's see if I remember this. I'm not even going to pause it. So the goal has to be S. Simple. M, measurable. A, attainable. R, reliable. I gotta look it up. So the SMART acronym is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So really, you don't have a goal like, okay, I'm gonna write this goal down and I'm gonna get it. My goal is go back to school. Well, geez, is that specific? Yeah, it is. Is it measurable? Well, not really, because there's a lot of things there's time. You don't have a specific time when you can go back to school. Is it achievable? Well, we don't know. You might need prerequisites. Is it realistic? Well, it's a realistic goal, probably, maybe, depending on money and time. So not really. Is it timely? You don't know. So you got to break it down. So going back to school, that can be broken down into like 50 smaller goals. So, for example, part of that to get you started would be go on to the school's website, look at their program, see prerequisites, and look at the fees for that college or university. That's the goal. The goal would be to go to the website. Got it. Checked off that goal. You're good. So start with those small goals, and because they're a lot easier to achieve, and you build momentum, you feel good about yourself from being able to check off all those goals, and you slowly build your way up to going back to school. So break down your goals like that. That's what I did. And I realized that there's so many different things I had to do in order to make my dreams reality. And really, to look back at it now, I'm working at a place I really like, and I'm using the skills that I learned in school ultimately. And my diploma is right over there, my award is over there, and my other certificate of completion is there. I thought it was my diploma, but it was my certificate of completion for the career exploration program. So really, when I think about it, I achieved that goal. I did it because I'm doing it. I'm doing the job. I got the schooling. I have the skills. I worked really hard. I didn't just coast through. I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I talk about those things. And that was back when, to think about it, really, 3 years ago, sitting there like, homeless, I guess, for a second there, and many different seconds, in debt. Only skills I had were how to manage a store, retail, which is pretty good. That's still pretty good skills to have. And like, how the hell do I go back to school? What do I even go back to school for? So from that to where I'm at now, and I'm still alcohol free and cigarette free, that's pretty great. Didn't think I could do it because it was so huge that I cried about it so much that I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do with my life and how the hell am I going to get there. Well, it's possible. So really, this is why I wanted to make this video, to say, there's a chance you might want to do a career change. You're gonna want better for yourself once you get sober. And you know what? There's pretty much a world of possibilities right there. You can do it. I went into something that has engineering in the title. Who would have ever thought that? I'm an artist, number one. So for me to think that I would do that is just mind-blowing, that I was like, fuck, I'm doing it. And then I did it. And you can too, if you have big goals like that. Break them down and you can achieve it. So that's all I guess. That's it. Okay. I'll see you guys next video. Bye.